Welcome to another Bensday with Batgirl and Ben. I'm Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo. I'm here with Ben Lesnick. Ben, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, of course. I love this format. It seems to be a great way to interact with folks who maybe aren't necessarily part of the normal forum, Reddit swarm.
So I'm waving to Jared in the background, or AKA Disco Lando.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is good because not everybody has an opportunity to watch your Reverse the Verse or to read through countless numbers of posts on the forums, which you guys keep doing a great job at keeping up with us. The front page, guys, always gives you the most important information, like version 1.1.3 coming out today to fix some issues. That's pretty awesome.
Yep, just hit about an hour ago.
Yeah. I find it hard that after we try to do a take one, we have to do a take two and act like we didn't do take one.
This is take two, everybody.
Yeah. I had a kernel panic on my Mac, whatever that is. So we're going to get right back into it. We're going to go right to the questions this week, and I'm going to throw in some stuff at the end. Right now, our first question comes from our favorite mover, Marcus Impale.
Diss on the other mover.
Yeah, I know, but Sarzu just doesn't come out as much. And sorry, the little tiny cat made noise. And we love Sarzu too, but he just doesn't come out to play as much. So what we're going to talk about first is going to be jump holes. And Marcus has a pretty interesting question here, and it has to do with the size of ships and the size of jump holes. So let's read what he put here. Mm-hmm. The military strength of the UAE Navy seems based around big, awesome Bengal and Pegasus carriers. But big, awesome ships probably would also need big, awesome jump points. He likes the words big and awesome. So for the protection of its colonies, is there a UEE policy stating that every official UEE is there a policy that's stating that every official UEE colony will be reachable through the larger size jump points? We know what this means, right? He's wondering if you can get to every colony with every ship.
Yeah, let me reverse the question around a little bit. I guess it should be, are there any star systems that you can only get to with a small ship? And the answer there is no. There should always be a way to get everywhere. It's just not necessarily the same way. So maybe it'll take me one jump to get from, and I'm totally making up these systems and connections, from like Terra to Vega if I'm in an Aurora, or maybe it'll take me like 4 jumps in a Bengal. But there'll always be a way to get there.
Okay.
And we won't be excluding areas of space based on size. If you remember, anybody who played Wing Commander 4, one of Chris's previous masterpieces that I'm personally a fan of, the climax took place over several star systems. It was the Intrepid and the Vesuvius having this big capital ship action, and the Vesuvius was racing to Earth, but it had to take larger jump points, whereas the Intrepid could jump ahead of it because it could go through smaller ones. That's kind of the origination of that system.
Yeah, and I like that because it means that you might be able to find a jump point in an exploration that gets you a shortcut to something, but only something like a constellation or smaller could fit through it. And that would be awesome. And then you could sell that information and make money, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. Brent Chesson, which is where we died before, so let's knock wood. He had a great question about about ship's navigation, and I'll just read it because I think it's pretty cool. Has any ship navigation been fleshed out yet? As a wannabe space trucker, will I be able to add notes for different systems or planets? For example, my map for GOS System 1, I would like to be able to put in notes that GOS 2 wants glow sticks and clubs and stay away from the nebula because of heavy pilot activity. So they're in-game notes like on the star map.
Yeah, one of the things that one of the ways Chris kind of described this early on was the space equivalent of Yelp. So, if I go somewhere, I can leave my review or my comment and share it with the rest of the galaxy, or with my org mates, or with particular friends. Kind of playing up the idea that knowledge is power in Star Citizen, and there's a value to generating it.
That's cool. Next question comes from Celias, and I think he is somebody that probably plays Euro Truck Simulator a lot. As you can refine and transport fuel on the Starfarer, will you need a hazardous materials license to fly one in the same way as a driver of an 18-wheeler?
Yes, actually.
So really?
In the game world, it would be assumed that you have one, and it'll be part of your character's backstory. I don't know if they'll physically show it on the ship or not. We won't require you to go to pretend trucker school for the game, but we think about stuff like that. Like in a lot of games, like, oh, you're going to go out there and kill stuff, and there's no reason to do that in the world or excuse for it. So we want to think about, like, okay, yeah, I'll just assume all your characters have a letter of marque from the government that lets you go off and fight on the frontier without somebody pointing out that you're a super murderer. If you're a space trucker, we'll just assume that you have your space trucker license.
I love that. But, it would be fun and really realistic, very realistic if you had to go to like Terra or to Earth or to like one of the other systems to meet up with an instructor that would see how well you fly. Let's take it through the asteroid. Let's take it through the asteroid course today and see how many asteroids you hit. So I know Celias in the previous question would probably, well, no, this is Celias. He would probably hit a couple of rocks. Jump Dupree wants to know, will there be a game mechanic for orgs that they can earn high enough reputation with the UEE so that they can issue stock to raise capital to buy economic nodes? Now, I asked David this question before, and he said that people will be able to own certain types of businesses. Is that still in the works?
It is. I don't have any specifics for you yet because that's a system that's a little bit further out. That's
good.
Coming together in the mists as we speak. But yes, that's on our minds for sure.
And I think that's one of those things that when I connect with Tony, maybe we could ask Tony or one of the crew over there in Austin that works with him those questions, right? Because that's more them, right?
That's the kind of thing that Tony would probably talk about for hours. And
we
never thought of.
We won't talk to Tony if it's hours. No. We'd have to do it in multiple chats. All right, so that was a good one. And then Randall 1 wants to know will the Orion require fuel or being refueled when it's mining? Operation of mining.
Everything requires fuel. I think the physical act of mining is not an especially fuel-intensive thing. So it's one of those things that, yes, every ship will require fuel at all times.
They would be like a nuclear submarine, right? Don't they have nuclear reactors or fusion reactors that would be doing that? Fuel is what you're pushing out the back, right? And the power plants are pretty much mini fusion reactors, right?
Right. You're not actually. It's not the fuel. The fuel doesn't actually help you mine. It helps you maneuver and move around and make jumps.
And the reactors or the power plants that you have are actually what's powering the devices to mine. So unless that power plant ran out of whatever fuels then you'd need to refuel. But you don't need fuel to push, like hydrogen, to push the unit through space. Even nuclear-powered rockets do expel some hydrogen out the back.
Yeah, I fully expect that once we get the design pros for fuel out, there will be people who know better than I, as far as propellant versus fuel, and we're using the wrong term right now, but
Okay. Now here's another one that obviously this is being fleshed out. So it's from Randall 1 again. This is his second question. So this has to do with the rec store. And Randall, not everything is set in stone yet. When the PU goes live, this will change. But currently the cost of missiles in the store appears to be quite high. That is making me wonder about my choice as a freelancer, MIS, for group operations. Can you comment on the relative cost of missiles and torpedoes in the PU?
I can't comment on the relative cost yet. I can tell you that the price in the store right now is for the launcher and the unlimited missiles right now. So it's not representative of 5 missiles will cost this much. It's that's one thing we have definitely want to avoid is expendables. Oh, you have to buy more bullets. You have to buy more golden bullets. You have to buy new shields. We don't want that. So it's the price to give the player in AC unlimited missiles right now, essentially.
Okay, that's wonderful. This is a question that's like a follow-up to the last one since I was so low energy, and I apologize for that, people. I was coming off of a 2-day, 28 hours and 3 days of just working my butt off in meetings for the company I work for. So I guess when we asked this question last week, I kind of bumbled it. So we're going to ask it again. With Star Marine being a whole piece of the game, will it be a staggered release or will it go to everybody all at once?
The hope right now is it'll go to everybody all at once. We don't have to do that same step-by-step like we did for Arena Commander. But as with anything, it may collapse and destroy the universe, and we have to change our plans. But the hope is to get it out to everybody. I think right now we're thinking do a PTU patch, let people play around with it a week or two before we go live. You'll be hearing more about that soon, I'm sure. but we are not expecting that same 50 players can do it, 100 players, 1,000.
Okay, awesome. I like that. And that definitely answers it for me because I was going to say, won't we just do a PTU? And that was a perfect answer for that. Next question it's coming from Nighthawk, who is really Nighthawk is a pilot, and that's what he cares about. But it seems to be that a lot of the fluff, a lot of the excitement is over FPS, which it is an exciting piece. He's interested, will there be more content coming in building an economy? And he seems to be quite nervous that you guys are focused on shooting ships and people and not building the economy. That's not really the truth. Could you tell us really what the game is going to be focusing on down the road?
Oh, yeah, we've got guys in Austin building the economy right now. If you check out, I think maybe it's the Jump Point that's coming out tomorrow. There's actually an article about the board gaming they were doing to prepare for the economy stuff. It's a harder thing to test. Here's the economy module. What is it? Is it like Amazon.com for space? We will have more public testing as we get closer to the view. FPS and spaceflight are super, super core mechanics. They're something we need to hit out of the park. We have to get exactly right to make the rest of the game work. Yeah. But all that other stuff is in various stages of disassembly right now. It is definitely still coming.
Okay. Let's see what I have. One more question, 2 more questions, and then we'll close it out with like a quickie from me. So it's Wu Jen. She wants to know, or he wants to know, milspec. What does it actually mean to you? Like, what is its definition in this game?
I hate to sound like a jerk, but the specifications used by the military. And I don't mean that sarcastically in any way. It's the specifications the military puts out when they want they say this fighter has to be these specifications, and there it is. And it'll vary from ship to ship. Probably what's inspiring this is the Starfarer Gemini. Right. Why would that be? It's the spec the military uses for their tankers, but it's also. It's not a super classified ship no one else should have. It's just a beefier tanker compared to like a mil-spec ship, a mil-spec fighter, something like the F-7A Hornet or the Lightning or something along those lines. Then it's something that's much less likely for the player to ever get his hands on. I guess what I would want to note there is that mil-spec doesn't mean classified you never get it, but it can.
Okay. I do, and I could have answered that question too because we've talked, and I know where you would come from that. But that's the way to put it out. Even in today's world, in this universe that we live in, milspec is what a typical military would order from a company like Boeing or Lockheed or British Aerospace or whatever it is. So that's a good way to put it, and they are right. There are so many people calling it different things. That's why the question was asked. Now,
and one thing about the military spec is. I forgot what I was saying as I was saying it. So, to take like a military, a Boeing tanker conversion, they probably make that available to, most countries, or I bet even people. If I had enough money, I could probably swing like a KC-135 or something. No amount of money is going to buy me an F-22 or an F-35.
Really? If you had $100 million, you wouldn't be able to buy an F-35?
I don't think so. I think it's just the level of classification.
Yeah,
probably limits them to the government. I'm sure their agreement in designing them.
I don't think they sell them to private individuals yet. But Strike Commander.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that did have. I wanted that to happen. I wanted to be part of that group and buy my own F-16.
By the way, I quoted Strike Commander in the Wednesday Q&A for the Starfarer, and people should. Yeah. I was waiting to see if anybody noticed.
I would die to see a graphic update to that game and it put out again because that was a good story. That was pretty cool.
Had the best funeral cutscene of any Chris Roberts game.
And Chris Roberts games are known for their funeral season because you will die once, at least. All right. Yoko has a question I ask you every now and then. When are we getting a freaking female model so we could walk around in our own genders?
Oh, soon I hope.
Yeah, you hear this all the time.
I hear it and I say it. That's
I mean, obviously Chelsea and Alexis and Sandy are saying the same thing. So it's obviously not, folks. It's probably not done to the standard that Chris demands.
yeah.
That's it.
I remember early on we had a female model that Chris just savaged, and
Yeah.
so we will have female models. It's not. It's coming. I wish it were here sooner.
Okay.
We'll get it there.
So Dr. Jeffrey has two questions. Now, in take one, I threw this right at the start, but I'm going to throw it to you now. His first question is, because you are our Jedi Master for Star Citizen, how do you feel about the new title of Ben Kenobi Lesnick?
Well, see, my problem with this is that if you have to have a Star Wars character name reference, in fact, this specific Star Wars character is already named Ben.
Yeah. So, like I said first, at least he didn't say old Ben, right? So that's good. His second question is actually giving kudos to the people over, I think it's at Behavior, that built the Vanguard Force 5 or 4 game.
Dave Richard and Christine Marsh at Behavior. Incredibly talented pair and good people.
So if you live in my area and actually want to play that game the way it was years ago, it's called 1942, and it's on a 1942 vintage arcade machine in my basement. And it's awesome. But that was an awesome game. So the second part of that question is, do you think at all you could convince them as a subscriber or giveaway to everyone to build that as a arcade game that sits in your hangar?
I'll tell you what, CS probably got 100 tickets suggesting that the day it came out. There were probably 50 threads. There's threads on Reddit. Everybody
I know.
wants it.
I had to look up that after he asked, and I'm like, everyone's asked this. Ben probably is all ready to go. Stop asking.
But I will say it was actually already something we had in our internal team wiki. It's like, how soon can we do this? So it's an eventuality more than it is. We absolutely want to get it in the game, and we want to do a mobile version. Can't promise a mobile version yet, but we're looking to do it.
Yeah. They are. What's going on behind you?
I never asked.
All right. So I normally have questions for you, but I've been gone for so long. I need to read this week's, what do you call it? This week's weekly recap to catch up on everything and start getting back into my schedule. I'm really excited about the social module. That is the piece that we're going to see after FPS, correct?
It is, yeah. You guys in Austin are still hard at work on that. Heads down.
All right. And one of the biggest pieces about the social module, is there anything that you can divulge at this point about our interactions with each other? Are we just going to be able to see each other in our hangars? Or is it going to be staggered release, like in each other's hangars and then part of our corp, wherever they're going to give us?
It's going to be a staggered release. I can't say what will be in the first release because it will likely change between now and when we put it out, even though that's not too far in the future. But yeah, it's going to be much. So FPS is going to come as a pretty polished item. Fingers crossed.
Okay.
That at least it will have the multiple game modes. There'll be stuff to do. I think that social is going to come much more in the Arena Commander vein, where we throw some stuff at you. Half of it's broken, half of it's on fire, and you guys help us figure out which is which.
Okay. And my last question has to do with the 890 jump. There's almost 300,000 new citizens since it was last put on sale. What's my question? Do you think we'll see it on sale again soon?
I can't comment on that. No plans at the moment.
Okay. It's an important one. Right, it really is the social module ship, and that's an important one to a lot of people that missed it, including myself, who was dead broke at the time. But I know I'll be able to get it at some point. But that's a question that I have, and I can't find the name. That's one of the questions I had. Ben, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, sure thing. Anytime.
Yeah, and this was episode 21. I'll see you for episode 22 next week, right?
Sounds good.
All right, cool. Thanks. And with that said, folks, you all be safe out there, and we'll all see you soon. And he'll see you in the verse. Bye, guys.